In a realm where the jungle pulsed with ancient rhythms, the air was thick and alive, as if every tree and vine held the secrets of bygone civilizations. This was the world of Captain Elias Blackwood, a rogue explorer adrift on the edges of known space, seeking what seemed forever out of reach. Elias, familiar with bizarre landscapes and strange physics, now found himself amidst the untamed depths of Verenthia, where civilization had yet to carve its path. His ship, the star-bound Voyager, lay hidden beyond the towering foliage, out of sight from local patrols. Verenthia thrived untouched by the Galactic Coalition, a sanctuary for nature and enigma. His mission? Simply to observe and report. Whispers of hidden resources on Verenthia reached him, an energy source rumored to shift the power dynamics of the galaxy. But what he discovered instead would challenge his understanding of this world and himself. As the sun dipped low, Elias heard it, a low, primal sound echoing through the foliage. He froze, senses heightened, the jungle buzzing with an unusual vitality. Then he spotted it, a flash of movement on the riverbank. Pushing through the thick underbrush, he crouched at the water's edge, where an alien leopard thrashed against the current. Its fur shimmered with ethereal patterns, deep sapphire lines glowing faintly like pulsing veins. In that moment, their eyes met, and the chaos around them faded. The river roared, dragging the creature downstream. Without a second thought, Elias shed his jacket and leaped into the icy water, the shock barely registering as he fought his way toward the leopard. The creature writhed, its claws caught on submerged rocks, and doubt crept in. What if it attacked him? But something in its gaze pushed him onward. He reached it just as the water threatened to pull them both under. Wrapping his arms around the leopard, they battled the current together. To his surprise, the animal seemed to sense his intentions, its struggles lessening as they fought side by side. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they emerged in the shallows, gasping for breath. Elias collapsed beside the magnificent beast, both of them catching their breath. As he looked at the leopard, he was struck by its beauty, its bioluminescent patterns flickering softly as it breathed, those radiant blue eyes studying him with a fierce intensity. Suddenly, the leopard tensed, ears pinned back, and Elias felt the jungle still, as if it held its breath. Something was approaching. The leopard growled, fierce and protective, before limping deeper into the underbrush, its gaze fixed on Elias as if beckoning him to follow. Without hesitating, Elias obeyed, sensing that this creature guarded something of great significance. The jungle thickened around them, vines twisting like serpents as the light dimmed. The leopard's glowing patterns illuminated their path through the encroaching darkness. With each step, an eerie silence replaced the usual symphony of the wild. They arrived at a clearing, and Elias's heart stopped. At the center lay a cradle woven from vines and leaves, softly glowing with the same patterns as the leopard's coat. Inside lay a small, alien creature, no larger than a human infant, its dark skin marked by luminescent lines, its shallow breaths barely audible. The leopard approached, nudging the fragile form with its nose, curling protectively around it. Understanding dawned on Elias. This was no mere animal he had rescued. It was a guardian of something precious. But just then, chaos erupted. From the shadows emerged tall, humanoid figures, their skin shimmering with the same bioluminescent patterns. Their predatory grace and weapons glinted ominously in the dim light as they encircled the clearing. Elias's heart raced. Who were these beings? The leader stepped forward, eyes narrowing as he assessed Elias, the leopard, and the vulnerable child. A tense silence enveloped them, broken only by the jungle's hushed energy. Outsider, the leader growled, his voice dripping with disdain. Do you know what you've done? Elias swallowed hard, realizing he had stumbled into a situation much larger than he had anticipated. This was no simple jungle rescue. He had disrupted the natural order. The alien leader's eyes pierced through him, their glow intense. You must choose, he said, nodding toward the child in the cradle. Protect it or leave this world forever. The gravity of the moment pressed down on Elias. He felt the weight of the jungle around him, the eyes of the alien warriors upon him, and the quiet strength of the glowing leopard at his side. This choice was not merely about survival. It was a matter of the universe's delicate balance. As the child stirred, letting out a fragile sound, Elias realized that he had uncovered a secret with the potential to alter the fate of Verenthia, and perhaps the galaxy. He understood now that he had no choice but to see it through, standing resolute in the clearing, surrounded by beings that seemed to have emerged from the very heart of the jungle. The leader stepped closer, his expression inscrutable, as the weight of destiny hung heavy in the air. Elias stood frozen in the clearing, the air thick with tension. The glowing eyes of the alien leader bore into him, each second stretching like an eternity. Around him, the jungle pulsed with a life of its own, an unseen energy humming in the backdrop of this critical moment. The alien leader, tall and imposing, took another step closer, the iridescent fabric of his attire shimmering like the surface of water under moonlight. "You've crossed boundaries that were never meant to be breached, human," he said, his voice a low growl, echoing the weight of ancient authority. Elias's heart raced. "I didn't know. I was just trying to help," he managed, glancing at the leopard who stood protectively over the cradle. "This creature, it needed saving. Do you understand the implications of your actions?" The leader's gaze shifted, scanning the jungle as if anticipating a threat. "You've interfered with the cycle of life that has existed here for millennia. This child is not just a being. It is a key to our survival." "What do you mean?" Elias asked, his mind racing. He thought of the shimmering patterns on both the leopard and the child, their shared glow a tether that connected them somehow. "What is this child?" The leader's expression softened slightly. "This child is the last of our kind, a beacon of hope in a world teetering on the brink of chaos. The energy you seek on Verenthia is intertwined with the very essence of this being. To protect it is to protect the balance of life here." Elias glanced at the creature nestled in the cradle, its delicate form rising and falling with shallow breaths. He felt a surge of determination rise within him. "I won't abandon it. Not now. I'll help protect it." The alien leader's piercing gaze held him for a moment longer, weighing his sincerity. Finally, he nodded, a slow acceptance that sent a ripple of tension through the gathered warriors. "Very well, but know this. Your choices have consequences." As if on cue, the jungle erupted into movement. Dark shadows darted between the trees, the tension crackling like static in the air. The leopard growled lowly, muscles coiling, ready to spring into action. "Prepare for an attack," the leader commanded, his warriors fanning out around the clearing, their weapons drawn and at the ready. Elias felt adrenaline flood his veins. This was no longer a mere rescue mission, but a fight for survival. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the trees, followed by a pack of hostile figures emerging from the underbrush. Their bodies glimmered with the same bioluminescent patterns, but their expressions were twisted with aggression. Elias recognized them as the predators of Verenthia, beings that thrived on chaos and dominance. "Stand your ground," the alien leader shouted, taking a defensive stance in front of the cradle. The warriors moved into formation, creating a protective barrier around Elias, the leopard, and the child. Elias's hands instinctively moved to his holstered plasma pistol, but he hesitated. The last thing he wanted was to escalate the conflict. Instead, he drew a deep breath, focusing on the glowing eyes of the leopard beside him. There was a bond between them now, an understanding of purpose. The opposing forces advanced, their growls a symphony of menace. Elias steeled himself, ready to fight alongside the alien warriors. "What do we do?" he called out to the leader. "Hold the line," the leader replied. "And remember, this child holds the power of our future." As the hostile figures closed in, Elias felt a rush of resolve. He wasn't just protecting an alien child. He was standing against the tide of destruction threatening this world. The leopard moved beside him, its bioluminescent patterns illuminating the space like a beacon of hope. With a fierce roar, The leader charged forward, leading his warriors into battle. Elias followed, fueled by a blend of fear and determination. They clashed against the intruders, the jungle erupting into chaos as the two sides collided. Elias ducked and weaved, the adrenaline sharpening his senses. He spotted a warrior beside him struggling against an enemy, their bioluminescent skin reflecting the chaos. In that moment, Elias leaped in, using the butt of his plasma pistol to strike the assailant, sending him sprawling. "Together," he shouted, glancing at the leopard, who darted forward, its claws flashing like daggers. Elias marveled at its agility and strength, the creature moving with an otherworldly grace that left him in awe. As the battle raged, Elias noticed that the child in the cradle began to glow brighter, its energy pulsing in rhythm with the conflict. The alien leader had been right. The child was connected to the very essence of the jungle. "Protect the cradle," Elias yelled to the warriors, urgency propelling him. He pushed forward, fighting with newfound vigor, ensuring that the child remained safe. Suddenly, the leader's voice rang out over the chaos. "We cannot let them take it. The future of Verenthia depends on this child." Elias's heart raced as he realized the stakes. Every clash and strike felt like it was echoing through time, each movement a fight for existence. The jungle roared around them, as if rallying in support, vines snapping like whips in the tumult. Just as victory seemed in reach, the opposing leader, a towering figure with glinting eyes, emerged from the fray, his gaze fixed on the cradle. "Surrender the child," he bellowed, a voice that resonated with authority. Elias felt a wave of fear wash over him, but he stood his ground. "Never!" With a rallying cry, he surged forward, adrenaline propelling him. The fight intensified, and as the alien warriors pressed their advantage, Elias found himself side by side with the leopard once more. The battle was fierce, and Elias knew that time was slipping away. As the opposing forces closed in, he caught a glimpse of the cradle, the child glowing brighter than ever, its power radiating through the clearing. In that moment of clarity, Elias understood that this child was not just a protector of the jungle, but a force capable of shaping its destiny. He would do whatever it took to ensure its safety. The jungle itself seemed to respond to his determination, the air humming with energy. Elias charged forward with the leopard at his side, ready to face whatever came next, knowing that this battle was just the beginning of a much greater journey. The clash of bodies echoed through the jungle, reverberating like a drumbeat of war. Elias fought with a fervor he'd never known, his every movement guided by instinct and the palpable bond he shared with the glowing leopard. They were two warriors united by purpose, fighting to protect the fragile life nestled in the cradle. As the opposing leader advanced, his menacing form towering over the chaos, Elias felt the weight of the moment settle on his shoulders. The hostile forces were relentless, their eyes gleaming with hunger. But Elias's resolve only hardened. "We cannot let them take the child," he shouted, rallying the alien warriors around him. "Together," the alien leader commanded, his voice cutting through the din like a blade. With newfound determination, Elias and the alien warriors surged forward, the leopard weaving between them, its bioluminescent patterns illuminating the path ahead. Elias spotted a gap in the enemy ranks and seized the opportunity. He pushed forward, aiming for the cradle, determined to shield the child from harm. The opposing leader, however, was relentless. With a powerful swipe, he knocked aside one of the warriors, a fierce growl escaping his lips. "You will regret this, outsider." Elias locked eyes with the alien leader, a fire igniting within him. "Not if we stand united," he yelled, rallying the remaining warriors. Together, they surged forward, pushing back against the advancing threat. In the fray, the leopard sprang into action, its sleek form darting like a shadow through the chaos. Elias could see the fierce intelligence in its eyes as it outmaneuvered foes, claws striking with precision. The creature fought not just for survival, but for something far more significant, the very essence of their world. As the battle raged on, The cradle's glow intensified, pulsating with energy that seemed to resonate with the heartbeat of the jungle. Elias realized that the child was not merely a passive bystander. It was the nexus of the power that flowed through Verenthia. He felt a connection forming, a thread binding him to this place and its future. Then, the opposing leader let out a roar that silenced the chaos momentarily, his voice laced with fury. "You think you can protect it? You are a fool, human." Elias tightened his grip on his plasma pistol. "Maybe, but I won't let you destroy what you don't understand." In that moment, the air crackled with energy, and the child in the cradle began to stir, its glowing lines pulsating more rapidly. A surge of light erupted from the cradle, washing over Elias and his allies. The hostile warriors faltered, momentarily blinded by the brilliance. "Now," the alien leader shouted, taking advantage of the distraction. "Push them back!" Elias felt a wave of energy flow through him, as if the jungle itself were lending him strength. Fueled by this newfound power, he charged forward, joining the alien leader in the fight against their adversaries. The bioluminescent glow emanating from the child infused their strikes with purpose. The opposing forces struggled to regain their composure, but Elias and the warriors pressed the advantage, pushing forward like a tide of light. The alien leader fought with grace and power, effortlessly dispatching foes that stood in their way. Then, just as victory seemed within reach, the opposing leader retaliated, his massive form slashing through the ranks of their defenders. Elias felt a chill run down his spine as he locked eyes with him, a primal instinct urging him to act. "Stay together," he shouted, but it was too late. The opposing leader broke through the lines, heading straight for the cradle. "No!" Elias roared, adrenaline surging through him as he pushed through the throng. He could see the child's glow flickering, its energy tied to the fierce struggle unfolding around it. With a desperate leap, Elias launched himself forward, tackling the opposing leader just as he reached the cradle. They crashed to the ground, the world spinning as Elias fought to gain the upper hand. The leader snarled, a vicious glint in his eyes. "You're too late." Elias struggled against the alien's immense strength, their bodies entwined in a furious battle. But just as the opposing leader seemed poised to strike, the cradle erupted in a blinding flash of light. The glow enveloped them, washing over the clearing like a wave, leaving Elias momentarily disoriented. The world around him shimmered, and in that moment of vulnerability, he glimpsed something extraordinary. The child, radiant and powerful, began to rise from the cradle, its tiny form glowing brighter than ever. The patterns that adorned its skin pulsed with energy, intertwining with the surrounding jungle, awakening life in a way Elias had never seen before. The alien warriors fell back, shielding their eyes from the brilliance, while the opposing forces stumbled, caught off guard by the sudden display of power. Elias blinked away the days, his heart racing as he realized what was happening. The child was channeling the energy of Verenthia, becoming a conduit for the jungle's lifeblood. He could feel the ground beneath him tremble, vines unfurling and trees bending as the jungle responded to its guardian. "Protect the child!" Elias yelled, finally breaking free from the opposing leader's grasp. He could see the fear in the eyes of their enemies, the realization dawning that they were no longer fighting just for a child, but for the very spirit of Verenthia itself. With renewed strength, Elias joined the alien warriors, pushing back against the opposing forces. The glow intensified, illuminating the jungle in a vibrant tapestry of light and color, transforming the battlefield into a realm of pure energy. The opposing leader roared in fury, but it was too late. The child unleashed a wave of energy that surged forward, washing over the invaders and sending them reeling. The jungle quaked in response, the very essence of life rallying to its defense. Elias felt the power coursing through him, and with it, the knowledge that this was a battle not just for survival, but for the future of Verenthia. He fought with a fierceness he never knew he possessed, fueled by the energy that flowed from the child and the jungle itself. The tide turned, and the opposing forces began to retreat, their resolve crumbling under the overwhelming brilliance of the light. With one last push, Elias and the alien leader drove them back, forcing them to flee into the depths of the jungle. As the chaos subsided, Elias stood amidst the glow, breathing heavily, heart racing. The child descended gently back into the cradle, its light gradually dimming, but leaving a warm glow that enveloped the clearing. The alien leader turned to Elias, a mix of gratitude and respect in his eyes. "You have proven yourself, human. The balance of Verenthia has been preserved, thanks to your courage." Elias looked around at the warriors, their faces reflecting awe and relief. "I couldn't have done it alone. We fought together." "Yes," the leader replied, nodding solemnly. "Together, we are stronger than we could ever be apart." As the jungle slowly returned to its rhythm, Elias felt a sense of purpose wash over him. This was just the beginning of a deeper connection to Verenthia, a bond forged in the heart of conflict. He had chosen to protect not just a child, but a world, and in doing so, had found a part of himself he didn't know was missing. With the cradle safe and the jungle at peace, for now, Elias took a deep breath, ready to embrace the journey that lay ahead, knowing that he was not just a visitor in this world, but a guardian of its future. As the remnants of the battle faded into the jungle's deep embrace, Elias felt a palpable shift in the air. The vibrant energy that had pulsed through the clearing began to settle, leaving behind a tranquil hum that resonated with the heartbeat of Verenthia. He took a moment to catch his breath, the adrenaline slowly subsiding as he surveyed the scene around him. The alien warriors gathered around the cradle, their expressions a mix of reverence and relief. The alien leader, whose name Elias now knew as Kale, approached the cradle with a sense of purpose. "We must protect the child," he said, his voice low but firm. "There are still those who would seek to exploit its power." Elias nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. The battle had revealed the true nature of the child, but it had also exposed a deeper threat. "What do we do now?" he asked, his gaze drifting back to the glowing cradle. Kale's eyes narrowed, contemplating their next steps. "We must relocate to a sacred site, one that is shielded from prying eyes. There, we can hide the child until it is strong enough to defend itself." Elias felt a flicker of fear. "What if they come back? What if they find us?" "They will not find us if we move quickly and quietly," Kale replied. "We have the advantage of the jungle on our side. It knows us, and it will protect us." With that, Kale signaled for his warriors to gather their strength. Elias joined in, helping them secure the cradle as they prepared to move. The child lay peacefully within, its glow now a gentle beacon of hope rather than a blinding light. As they trekked deeper into the jungle, the foliage thickened around them, vines hanging like drapes and the scent of damp earth filling the air. Elias felt the weight of the journey ahead settle in. He was stepping further into the unknown, but a sense of purpose propelled him forward. After what felt like hours of navigating the labyrinthine paths of Verenthia, they arrived at a clearing dominated by an enormous tree, its trunk wide and gnarled, with roots that snaked across the ground like ancient serpents. The tree emanated an aura of serenity, its branches stretching towards the sky, creating a natural canopy that shielded them from the outside world. "This is the Heartwood," Kale said, gesturing toward the tree. "Here, we will be safe. It is a place of power, where the essence of Verenthia is strongest." As they settled the cradle beneath the tree, Elias felt an overwhelming sense of calm wash over him. The tree pulsed gently, as if in tune with the child's energy. "It feels alive," he remarked, awed by the sight. "Indeed," Kale replied. "The Heartwood is a guardian of its own. It will help shield us from those who seek to harm the child." Elias knelt beside the cradle, studying the child's delicate features, still marked by the glowing lines that spoke of its connection to the world. "What happens now?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "We wait," Kale replied. "But we also prepare. The child must learn to harness its power. Only then will it be able to protect itself and the balance of Verenthia." With that, Kale summoned his warriors to begin fortifying their defenses. Elias joined them, gathering materials from the surrounding jungle. Thick vines, sturdy branches, and stones imbued with a soft luminescence. Together, they worked to create a protective barrier around the heartwood, blending their efforts seamlessly into the natural environment. As night fell, the jungle transformed. Bioluminescent flora illuminated their surroundings, casting an ethereal glow that made the world feel both magical and alive. Elias took a moment to step back and admire their handiwork. The barrier they constructed seemed to breathe, an extension of the jungle itself. Kale approached him, his expression contemplative. "You've shown great courage today, Elias. You fought not just for the child, but for our world." Elias felt a warmth spread through him. "I didn't do it alone. I had help. Your warriors, the Leopard, and the child." "True," Kale acknowledged. "But you chose to stand with us, to protect what is not your own. That is a rare quality among your kind." A flicker of pride coursed through Elias, but it was soon overshadowed by the gravity of their situation. "What do we do if they come for us again? If they find this place?" Kale's gaze darkened. "Then we will fight again, but this time, we will be ready. The Heartwood will aid us, and we will have the strength of our unity." As the stars twinkled above, Elias felt a sense of belonging that he hadn't anticipated. This jungle, this fight, it was no longer just a mission or an adventure. It was a cause, one that resonated deep within him. He had found his place among these warriors, a chance to protect something greater than himself. In the days that followed, they settled into a rhythm beneath the Heartwood. The warriors trained tirelessly, honing their skills in combat and strategy, while Elias learned from Kale about the mysteries of Verenthia, the energies that flowed through the land, and the significance of the child's glow. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the jungle in hues of gold and crimson, Elias approached the cradle. The child stirred gently, its glowing patterns shimmering in the fading light. He felt drawn to it, an urge to understand the connection that bound them all. "Why are you here?" Elias whispered, kneeling beside the cradle. "What is your purpose?" In that moment, a soft warmth radiated from the child, and Elias felt a rush of emotions flood through him. Hope, fear, and an overwhelming sense of destiny. It was as if the child was communicating with him on a deeper level, an understanding that transcended words. Kale appeared behind him, observing the moment with quiet respect. "The child is more than a guardian. It is a symbol of our unity, our hope. It embodies the spirit of Verenthia, and with your help, it will learn to protect itself and our world." Elias nodded, a newfound determination swelling within him. "Then I will do everything I can to help." Together, they stood in the fading light, united in purpose, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The bond between them, forged in conflict and strengthened by their shared commitment, would guide them as they prepared for the trials to come. As night fell, Elias gazed up at the stars, feeling the weight of his decision. He was part of something extraordinary now, a protector of Verenthia and its future. And with the Heartwood standing tall beside them, he knew they would face whatever came their way, together.